Hey guys, so today we are doing lesson 103, which is on page 538, and we're doing lesson 107, which is on page 557. And the reason why I grouped these two together is because they are both dealing with complex shapes. So lesson 103 is finding the perimeter of that, and then lesson 107 is finding the area of that. So just a few little reminders, because this is what you're going to need for your homework. Perimeter, remember you're just going to add up all the sides. Okay, and that's the same thing for a triangle as well. You just add up all three sides. To get area of a square or a rectangle, length times width. And then to get area of a triangle, remember it is 1/2 times the base number times the height. Now remember, the base number is going to be the bottom number, and the height is usually going to be represented by a dotted line. So just keep that in mind, because you do have one of those on your homework. Now there's three main steps to do this. And so in order to get the perimeter or the area, depending on what you're looking for, you have to split up the shape into sections. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. Then you're going to get the perimeter or the area of each of those smaller sections. And then you're going to add up all the perimeters that you get or all the areas that you get, depending on what the question's asking. So let's actually put this to use, and I will show you what I mean by that. So right here, on all of your homework problems, you are going to have some missing sides. So before we do anything, we have to figure out what those missing sides are. So the best way to think about it is to get this question mark here. Okay, so if this was a whole rectangle, so let's just kind of draw it out using a dotted line to represent a whole rectangle. And hopefully you can kind of imagine that. Okay, so if this is 7 centimeters, then this whole side has to be 7 centimeters. Okay, so that means that part of it is 3 centimeters, but then this other part right here, we have to subtract 7 and 3 to get that question mark. Because 7 is the total amount, but I only know 3 of it, and I want to know the other part of it. So 7 minus 3, of course, gives me 4 centimeters. And I can even write that in for you, just so you know how I got that. Now let's do this side over here. So again, if I finish off this rectangle, okay, I know that part, like this part right here, so from here to here is 4. So that means from here to here is 4. Okay? And then I know that from here to here is 2. So from here to here is 2. So what I'm going to do to get that is I'm going to add up the 4 centimeters and the 2 centimeters, because that makes up this entire side. And that gives me 6 centimeters. Okay, so now that I know the measurements for all the sides, I can split this up into sections first. So I'm going to do this with my pencil. So there's 2 ways that you can split it up. So you can either split it up like this, or you can split it up like this. Either way, you would still get the same answer. I personally like the first way better. So I'm going to erase this dotted line, and I'm going to use my first dotted line. And notice how the reason why I split it up right there is because I have a rectangle on this side, and I have a square on this side. Okay, so now this problem is going to ask me to get perimeter and area. So to get perimeter, I have to get the perimeter of this first shape right here. Okay, so to get perimeter, I know that I'm going to add 3 plus 6. And then I have a problem here though, because I need only this little spot. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to subtract 7 and, well actually I don't even have to do that. If I can visualize that if this is 3, then this is 3. So I can even just write that in just so I know. And then of course, if this is 6, then this is 6. Okay? So I'm going to add up 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. And I get 18 centimeters. Okay, so that's the perimeter of the first shape. Now I'm going to do the second shape, which is this square right here. So if this is 4 and this is 4, then that means that this is 4 and this is 4. So 4 plus 4 plus 4, of course, is going to give me 16. Now I'm going to add the 18 and the 16 together. And I should have gotten 44 centimeters as my total perimeter. So that's part of my answer. Now I'm going to move on to area. So I'm going to keep my dotted line there, and I'm going to use the same measurements that I have. So remember, area is length times width. So I'm going to just multiply 3 times 6, because 3 is my width, 6 is my length. Of course, I have 18 centimeters. And then I'm going to use my same measurements to get the area of this square right here. So I have length of 4 and I have a width of 4. So 4 times 4 is 16 centimeters square. And of course I'm going to add those up. And this hardly ever happens, but I have the same perimeter and the same area. So the only difference between perimeter and area, remember, even though this is a very odd problem because I have the same perimeter and the same area, but I need to remember to put my little square in the answer of the area. Okay, please do not forget that. Okay, so let's do the next problem. So just like the original one, I have some missing pieces here. So I'm just going to finish off this shape just so I can visualize it and make it a complete square. So right here, if this is 10 inches, then that means that from here to here would be 10 inches. Okay, but it only gives me from here to here as being 4. So that means that I need to actually subtract 10 and 4 to get this piece right here. So 10 minus 4, of course, is going to be 5. So my question mark is 5 inches. Okay, now I need to get this question mark right here. So I know that, of course, this is 10 inches because it's a square. So that means that this whole piece has to equal up 10 inches. But from here to here is 7. So what I'm going to do to get this little sliver right here is I'm going to subtract 10 and 7 to get 2 inches. I'm sorry, not 2, 3. Got a brain fart right there. Okay, so then my other question mark is going to be 3 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to get my perimeter of my area. And I'm just going to choose to separate it like this. You can also separate it like this if you wanted to, and you would still get the same answer. But I just like this way. There's no particular reason why I like that way. It's just the first one that I drew. So I'm just going to stick with that one. So now I need to get the perimeter. So if this is 5 inches, then this is 5 inches. If this is 3 inches, then this is 3 inches. So I'm going to add up 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 3. And I get 16 inches for the first shape. Then I'm going to get the perimeter of this top half right here. So I know that this is 10. So this whole piece is going to be 10. And excuse me, I just found a mistake. This should be 6. And then, so that means that this one should be 6. Sorry about that, guys. I should have caught that earlier, but I didn't. Okay, so then I need to redo my perimeter by changing these 5s to 6s before we move on. Okay, and that gives me 18 inches. Okay, so now I'm on the right track. So that means that 10 inches, this whole piece right here is going to be 10 inches, okay? And then if this is 7 inches, then that means that from here to here is 7 inches. So I'm going to add up 10 plus 10 plus 7 plus 7. I get 34 inches. And then I'm going to add those two up together to get my total perimeter. And I should have got 52 inches, which is my total perimeter answer. Okay, so now I'm going to get my area. So area, I'm going to just do this first little shape right here. Okay, so I have 6 inches and I have 3 inches, so I'm going to multiply 6 and 3. And it looks like we're going to have the same area and perimeter again, possibly. Okay, and remember I need inches square for area. And I'm going to do this bigger shape up here. So I'm going to do 10 times 7. Since it's length times width. Oh, no, I'm not going to end up with the same perimeter and area. Okay, and that of course gives me 70 inches square. So then I'm going to add those to total up my area. So I have 88 inches square is my area. And that's how you do lesson 103 and 107. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Have a great day.